at te iwi and welcome to another episode of The Verdict. Today we are discussing rugby versus rugby league new rules. Which ones do you prefer? And this weekend we'll see the Blues play the Crusaders and someone's O's got to go. Who will it be? Before we get into those discussions though, here are my guests today. Goran, Paladin, kia ora.
Rav, someone's O has
like
got
that.
to go. That was nice.
I like that.
Glad you picked up on it too.
Really?
What about this guy returning after all this time? It's been months.
I tell you, I'm a little bit rusty, but we'll see how we get on.
How can you be rusty? You've been working on Super Rugby Aotearoa, you know, in the com box with our dear pal Jeff McTainch on the sideline, pre-match, post-match.
Yeah, well, I don't have to debate which side I think is going to win. It's a little bit different when you're in this environment. You know, when you're going up against someone like yourself.
So what does that mean? Someone like myself,
Yeah,
Do you not get the same quality on breakdown? Is that what you're saying?
Hey, I'm not saying anything. I'm not even going to debate that.
Everyone's friends on that show.
Exactly.
Great to see you again, man.
Yeah,
Great to see you.
Good to be back.
Yeah.
Well, since it has been a little while since you've been here, let's go over the rules just to refresh your memory. So first of all, I will relay those questions or those discussion points that I just said. You will quickly state which side of the fence you will be on, and then you will go into why you think that your argument is the right one. You can give any research you have, any points that you've looked up, and you can of course reply to each other. I'm not going to say timely manner anymore because I just love watching you two go at it. So
Okay, fair enough.
okay. Let's get into it, eh?
Sure.
Case number one. Rule changes have been made for both rugby league and rugby. Who's a better?
NRL, of course. I mean, by default, I've kind of got to say it, you know, being on Warriors TV and game day coverage. But look,
quick plug.
Seriously, yeah. Make sure you check us out. Game day this Friday night. Warriors up against Newcastle Knights. Looking for 2 from 2 to start a season for only the fourth time in their history. But anyway, look.
Well, you know how to keep your job, don't you? Good on you, mate. Good on you.
I honestly believe that the rules that the NRL has introduced over not just this season, but the last couple of seasons, they've improved the game, and it's a lot better than what we're seeing in Super Rugby.
Okay. Mills?
Yeah, for me, I think the Super Rugby rules, obviously, it's always contentious because it's a different type of game in terms of the rucks and the mauls and it. So, but what I love about the fact, you know, with what goes on with rugby is we're constantly evolving. Now, there's always debate week in, week out. You know, the league compared to the league guys, where they sort of take a long time to actually implement a rule. So really, for me, I think we're getting there with rugby. We're on our way up, but the biggest, I suppose, positive is that we're constantly open to feedback.
The NRL implements a rule as long as it may take, and then Super Rugby just jumps on the back of it. Captain's challenge. We're going to do a captain's referral, which is pretty much the same thing, only a lot more crappy.
Which is exactly my point. You know, we're open to all types of sports. You know, and implementing things, on a yearly basis, sometimes even a monthly basis. I tell you what, even weekly. That's how open rugby is in terms of sitting down and having a great, conversation about how our rule changes should change.
Mate, the captain's referral, as it's called in Super Rugby Aotearoa, to go back all those phases. Like, there's going to come a time where people are just like turning off their TVs going, so Aaron Smith saw something in phase 3 and after 12 phases they score a try. All right, I've got to remember the minute that happened. I'm pretty sure it was phase 3, or did I say phase 2? All right, I've got 10 seconds to challenge. And then you've got the guys in the poor Sky OB truck winding back the tape. At least in NRL, it's like it happened on that tackle. You go to the referee and say, I think there was a lost ball, I think there was some sort of infringement, and it's over in the blink of an eye.
And this is where Goran's wrong. He's absolutely wrong about that, because we don't go back 5 or 6 phases to all this stuff. You've got to be very specific. You're only allowed a referral or a challenge in the last 5 minutes, and it can't go more than 3 phases. It has to, and you have to be specific about what that is. The captain is the only one that can go up and say, hey, look, I want it to go have a look at this particular incident, and they can go back to that. And it's only in the last 5 minutes of the game. In rugby league, let's go to the bunker. Come on, let's go to the bunker. Let's hear everyone in the bunker. We've got why do you need 5 guys in the bunker looking at all these different wee things? I need to come back and say, in that last passage of play, it was way back at kick-off. Someone wasn't way in front of that kick-off.
No, they don't do that.
All the way back there, just checking.
Rubbish.
And then
the
best thing about the bunker is the KFC. Do they see KFC? How it comes up and it says this, and that. That's the best part of that.
No,
Okay, you're tugging heartstrings now, Mil.
That's the worst part of it, actually. It's the worst part because quite often they put up a special that's not relevant to a New Zealand audience.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not.
It's like, oh man, I need that bucket of chicken. And you go to your local KFC. We're not doing that deal. Look, the reason I like the NRL rule changes is because it's keeping the ball in play longer and it's reducing things like scrums. Like who really wants to see a rugby league scrum? It gives the forwards a bit of a breather, but that's it. Nobody pushes in a scrum in rugby league unless it's like, I don't know, once in a blue moon, a real surprise, like, oh wow, they've pushed over the ball and they've won the ball back. Nobody cares. So when the ball gets kicked out, just a simple restart and play, and the game is up and running, quick, smart. And I like these changes, the rule changes, because it's the best of both worlds, Rav. You've got massive units like Adam Whanua-Blake and Ben Murdoch-Masila who they can come on and have their impact and run over little blokes. But and they do. Adam did at the weekend to great effect. They run over these little blokes on attack, but then as the game wears on, the little guys come to the fore, and that's what we haven't seen in years gone by. And I think the introduction of these different rules is helping that. So you get the big guys going hard, and then they drop off, and the little guys can weave some magic. Yeah.
I'm going to go back to your point about the scrums. And you're absolutely right. Who wants to have scrums in rugby league when you don't even push? Why? It's supposed to be a contest. You don't come in there just to hold someone and get in between a little, well, should I say a dark hole, and hold yourself in there just to set things up. So everything is geared up towards the attacking side. So why not just scrap it? They've had it for a number of years where you just come in, pop your head in, and then just go. So when I say it's all geared up towards the attacking team, well, how is the defensive side supposed to get any sort of momentum or actually, any dominance, in your own 22 when it's all geared up? I mean, to me, a back shouldn't even be in the damn scrum in rugby league. When you're in rugby, the only time a back should be in there if you're down, 14 men because someone's been in the sin bin. It's supposed to be a contest. So if rugby league haven't implemented the fact they don't need to have scrums, get rid of it. Get rid of it. Okay. At the moment with rugby, we need it. It's a big contest, and I can tell you there's going to be some big scary men. And particularly in South Africa, if you got rid of it, they would not be very happy. And I think, yes, I know there is difficulty when they constantly go down, but I think that's
boring.
It is boring.
It's so boring.
I'm going to have to agree with you on that, but I think they have sped it up a heck of a lot to try and make sure that they were not resetting, because it takes a long time to reset. But to go back to my point, a scrum it's a contest. Like, you should be able to have the ability to actually push over. If you're having a scrum in rugby league just for the sake of restarting play, well, you might as well play the ball or tap it and give the defensive side.
That's what we're doing.
An opportunity to actually get up and win that battle, rather than set moves off a what is it called, a non-contested scrum. I mean, and that's my whole point. The fact that let's evolve. If you're going to evolve, get rid of it. Whereas rugby, we do that. We're constantly talking about it. Yeah, there might be a few issues that we haven't quite...
Constantly evolving.
Over the line.
Dropouts,
but I think the correspondence...
Rugby League's been doing that for years.
And the open communication is where we're at.
Oh, how about the TMO and Super Rugby?
You picked up on this, eh? I was hoping you wouldn't pick that up.
Seriously, you've got a million looks at a million different angles, and how on earth they say that Akira Ioane to his brother was a forward pass in that Blues Highlanders game? I will never know. I will never know.
Well, from the naked eye, it does. But you've got to take it
out of the hands, right?
It was. You've got to take into consideration
that's what we're told
momentum.
Constantly.
Yes.
Every week of the year, backwards out of the hands. Physics means the ball flies forward.
And what happened this weekend or this week? Bryce Lawrence has come out finally, and said we've got it wrong over the weekend. I like that, and they've obviously learned over the years.
Of course he has.
Usually, what they do is they say the referees are going.
Freddie knows that he got it wrong.
No, we don't want to comment about that. We don't comment this. We need more of this from the referees. We need them to come out and say we stuffed up. They're not going to give the Chiefs the points back or that try back to the Blues, but they stuffed up.
But what happens if that occurs in like a really important fixture?
Yeah, like the Lions versus the All Blacks?
Well, yeah, or like this weekend, we're going to talk about Blues Crusaders, but what happens if Akira Ioane finds his brother with a pass like that in the dying stages to win the game against the Crusaders? They haven't beaten the Crusaders in like 7 years, and then the TMO is like, oh, I'll make this decision.
Actually, they'd probably do that. Which button?
You wouldn't want to.
I hit red.
But I think it won't happen again because now they've got an example of it. And this is the learning. Learnings. This is where they would have learned. Okay, well, if this happens again, this is what's going to happen. It's going to be a try. It's not a forced pass.
The point is, it shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
It simply shouldn't happen because you've got guys qualified enough in the box to make a decision. Okay, yes, I see the ball floats forward, but what's the position of his hands? Oh, he's passing it back and it's floated forward because of momentum. And that person should be smart enough to make the decision. And on this occasion and on occasions previously.
You can't tell me when you looked at that you didn't say forward pass.
No, I'm a Blues supporter. I said,
every time.
What a try.
I looked at it and it was, when he scored and I was like, I'm sure that was forward, but I'm not going to say anything about it. And I was commentating.
No, but then you go back and you slow it down and you see the hands. And you realise that the try should have been allowed.
And good on the referees. They're now evolved now to know that this, less than a week before the next game, they know that the next time this happens, isn't that great about rugby that they can actually, sit down and talk about it? They know. They're clear
what rugby should do, introduce a new rule. Maybe they should leave it up to the commentators in the box, and they can decide. Because clearly the people in the TMO's box aren't qualified enough to make a decision.
There's some one-eyed commentators up there, mate. I wouldn't leave it up to them. I'll tell you that.
Well, actually, you were with Jeff McTainch, and he's a Highlanders supporter, so he would have ruled it out.
He kept it a bit quiet.
He's boiling inside.
Okay.
But look, to finish, NRL's rules are way better than Super Rugby Aotearoa's.
Final statement? Yep.
Yeah, that's my closing argument.
He's put the nail in the coffin now, so I'm just going to shut up.
I think it's, when you look at it, it's it's rugby league and rugby, but two very different games with rules for very different reasons in terms of play. I commend rugby for trying to be innovative and trying to make the game more exciting, not only for players strategically, but for viewers as well, to make it more exciting. But the way they're making it more exciting is implementing these rugby league type rules. Yeah. So does that mean that you can actually take ownership of them and say, these are our rules that we've created?
You can't, Rav.
Probably not.
You can't.
Yeah, I'd have to
You can't.
NRL. Yeah.
Oh.
Sorry, mate.
Rugby league. Yeah.
We bring you back in. We stitch you up with a terrible argument like that.
Just like that, I'm not coming back again.
Well, we've always got Goldie.
No.
Jeff McTainch.
Yeah.
Well done, mate. Well done, mate.
Good stuff, mate. Good stuff. I'm sure you'll kick
Who stitched me up? Who stitched me up? I wanted the rugby league one.
Yeah, but it'd be weird. Like, you're Sky Sport Rugby, and I do a little bit of rugby league stuff. So why would we argue the other side of the coin?
I'll tell you what, I was a lot happier than what I thought I would be. I actually gave quite a good argument.
Yeah, you did really well. I thought it was a nice, positive discussion, and ultimately I won.
Making this a bit of a habit now, Goran.
Yeah, I know. I've gotten really good since you were last here.
Next one.
Okay, let's get
Move on.
Case number 2.
Things are getting awkward.
Of course, we're doing Super Rugby Aotearoa. Someone's always got to go. The Blues will be playing the Crusaders at Eden Park this coming round. Who takes the win? We'll start with who you've got.
Well, for me, the Blues takes the win. Okay. Take the win because I just think they're building very nicely. The hometown advantage, they've built that over the last couple of years. I think, every time you talk to them, it's about being home. They've got a new surface. So all that old sort of the past and the losses over the years, that's gone.
The hoodoo is gone.
It's gone. So I think the Blues win.
They got rid of some grass and that's going to help them.
Mate, honestly, when that comes through those sprigs, you still get some of the feeling of the losses, mate. It wears off on you. Wears off. I mean, look at the Aussies; they'll be happy with that too.
Okay, I would love to see a Blues win, being a Blues supporter, but that's the optimist in me. The realist says that the Crusaders will just keep on dominating, and come this weekend, unfortunately, we're going to see another red and black win.
Oh dear.
Yeah.
In Auckland.
In Auckland.
Okay.
In front of a massive crowd.
Mills, how do the Blues bring it?
I'll tell you what, the only red and black win we're going to see in Auckland is the Emirates Team New Zealand. That's the only red and black we'll see win this week. I think the Blues have built nicely. Leon McDonald's done a hell of a good job. His recruitment has been fantastic. You ask every team in the competition about their forward pack. This is an area where they've, obviously they haven't sort of been spoken about because they've always sort of relied on their flashy backs. Well, there's no use having flashy backs if you're not going to get the ball. Now they're physical, they're dominant, they're All Blacks, and if you flip it onto the Crusader side, they've got that too. But what I really see that's humming along nicely is the way they've sort of come together defensively, the way they dominate their tackles one-on-one. But then you look at their set piece, and an example of that is the weekend. The Highlanders, proud men. They've always been known for their physical dominance, particularly around the set piece. But they were doubt to, scrum time, and that goes a heck of a long way into winning that battle. Now, the Crusaders, they're a different kettle of fish. They're not 4 or 5 or 20 times champions for no reason. But
It does feel like that, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? But I just feel, with the likes of Altere Black, I think they're starting to find their feet. A little bit of confidence and maturity. Now he's not a Richie Mo'unga yet, but he's getting there, and that's all you really need in that Blues and Harry Plummer's starting to step up as well, so he's giving them a bit of option. Even Stephen Perofeta at the back, have been under a number of injuries, but now he's finding his position in terms of the full-back role and what he needs to be able to do. You inject a little bit of flash Harry stuff like Rieko Ioane, who's just starting to find his feet at the centre position, and that's what I love about it. Caleb Clark, who can bust things open out of nowhere. But the biggest positive from my point of view is their forwards, and not just 1 to 5, but you look at their back row. When you got Dalton Papali'i, Kira Ioane, and then Hoskins Satutu. Man, they just. I honestly think that back three there is probably arguably the best in the competition in the way they sort of complement each other and what they do. So for me, really, the Blues take it, and I know the Crusaders haven't conceded a driving more try for a very long time, and if the Blues do it this week and do it nice and early, the Blues win by more than 15.
Ooh.
By more than 15.
Telling you that right now. If they don't, I won't be back next week.
If you had said that without the yarn you gave before, I would have gone rubbish. But that was
Yeah, okay. So we're expecting a 15-point win to the Blues. I don't know if that's going to happen.
Is that wishful, do you reckon?
Yeah, you talk about the different positions and how the teams match up, how they stack up. And what is the strength of the Crusaders? Tight 5, line out drive, scrum. You've got a 10 in Richie Mo'unga who knows how to control the game. He's been doing it successfully for years now for the Crusaders. They've got the right cattle in the right positions. Yeah. And when I look at the Blues, where they don't really match up, they don't stack up in those same positions. Yeah, I hear what you say. Excitement machine and Rieko Ioane in the centres. You've got Caleb Clark who can bust tackles out on a wing. Altere Black might be making great strides, but he's not Richie Mo'unga. He's definitely not Beauden Barrett. I mean, the Blues would love Beauden Barrett this weekend, but he's trampling Japanese people and doing it like for fun and
for fun, for the
and a lot of money. So like when you look at the two sides, you just know how the Crusaders are going to play the game. They'll keep it tight. The tight 5 will do their work. They'll go. Richie Mo'unga will kick to the corners. They'll put pressure on at line out time, and the other good thing, and it pains me to say it because I love the Blues, but they're really good at playing two different styles of game. The Crusaders can get into that grind where they just rely on set piece, But they've also got the Flash Harrys, you know, the Will Jordan type characters, David Havili, Whainga Onuku out wide. I mean, geez, that guy is so hard to put down. Sevu Reece, like they've got weapons out wide where they can, if the nitty gritty stuff isn't working, then they can easily revert to that and be just as good, if not better, than any other team in the competition. So it's for these reasons why I believe that the Crusaders will win this weekend. Yeah, the Blues on a brand new surface, can't underestimate how grass and soil is going to help out. But on that new surface in front of like thousands of fans, that will spur them on. That's got to be a massive fillip for them to have that kind of crowd support. But I just think muscle memory will kick in for the Crusaders. They know how to win in difficult circumstances, and they'll do it again this weekend.
I am a Blues fan also.
Well, we all are.
But I think that they are... I don't know if they will get the win, but I think this weekend will be the biggest test for them so far. They've faced the Crusaders before, right? But this weekend, the way you guys put it, like this is this is going to be the true test of where the Blues are right now. Can they win the competition? And this weekend will be the true test of that. I think they can do it. I really do think they can. They're at home, new grass.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
But it's that belief thing. Like, you know, any team in any competition, you have to have that belief. And even if it is the blimmin' grass or whatever gives you that feeling.
The Warriors, mate, have they got that? Have they got that belief?
Well, they don't have grass because they haven't played on Mount Smart Stadium for a long, long time.
It was on that grass on the weekend.
Go the Warriors.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
I'll have to go Crusaders on this.
Oh!
Yeah. I do think the
You're
Blues
welcome
are very
back anytime,
capable.
Mills.
I just don't know if this week we'll get the W. But I'm very, very intrigued to see how the Blues will go this week.
I just hope we don't see like a TMO stuff up, rip the Blues off.
That's a scary thing.
Like, yeah, I mean, just as I said earlier, just think if what we saw from Akira to Rico happens in the dying stages of the match on Sunday, and
That'll be heartbreak.
oh yeah,
Yep.
We don't want to be talking about something like that after a good
exactly.
game, right?
No.
We want to be talking about, you know, who and why they won.
Yeah.
And why they won well, or why it was a good game. That's what we sort of want. So I'm with you, and you know, let's hope that they get it right. I know there'd be a lot of pressure on the referees, but let's hope they get it right. And it's a good game, and also on the other side, we're all Blues fans here, so we'd love to see them win. You know, I obviously my argument mustn't have been that calculated, but the more I think about it, the more I actually believe in that.
Yeah.
You know, I think they can. You know, that winning the tournament, you know, it's a long way away, but this will go a long way in terms of their belief, what you spoke about, and also tactically. And I think that could possibly be something that the Crusaders need as well. You know. So
Do you think the competition needs the Blues to win?
Yep. Yeah, 100%. I think so. To show other teams around the country and the fans around the country that these guys can be knocked off, because I don't know, maybe there's a little bit of apathy out there. You know, people tune in to watch the games, but they know that the Crusaders will roll up their sleeves and win at the end of the day. You know, like so in order to get a little bit more, I don't know, buy-in. Yes, I think we need to see the Blues win. I reckon people outside of the Auckland region and outside of the Crusaders catchment area, they will be wanting the Blues to win this weekend.
I mean, classic example on the weekend is downstairs, and the mother-in-law said, "Oh, the Chiefs are up 10 points to 0," and I was like, "Oh yeah,
They'll lose."
Crusaders have come back, and then it was 11-10, and then. You know, that's the mentality you don't want. No, I don't want to watch it because the Crusaders are just going to win. And so they do absolutely need to win, you know, for this competition.
Well, Mills, thank you so much. It's good to have you back at the table today.
Great to be back.
Yeah, good to see you again, mate.
2 losses, mate. Gee. 0-2 after the start of the season, eh? That's not very good.
I'll give you some really good arguments next week if you come back.
Oh, yeah, sweet.
And you can pick what's that.
Yeah.
And as for Goran and I, we will of course be back here at the table next week, putting everything in sport on trial. Mā te wā.